Hey, True Believers. Chris Mac coming at you today with The Batman Who Laughs #1. And you may say, wait, we already went over The Batman Who Laughs, but that was during Metal. This came out in February of 2019. Scott Snyder did a follow-up where The Batman Who Laughs returns. And this arc was absolute madness in a good way. So let's go ahead and jump into this. I love this Greg Capullo variant. It's just very, very stunning to me. Now we kind of open up in the past. Bruce talked about one of his first memories being his happiest memory. And one thing that you notice as you're reading this series, it was originally supposed to be 6 parts. But what I appreciate about Snyder is the story was so good and we had a lot of information to go through, is he actually added a 7th issue. So it really helped. So what I'm talking about in terms of laughing is when Bruce finishes his memory, he goes, what I remember most is the strength of their arms, meaning his parents and Alfred holding me back. And above all, the laughter. All of us laughing like lunatics as the sky darkened behind the house. So in a way, there's kind of this foreshadowing of what we're about to get into in terms of laughter in darkness. Because there's even a part, I believe, in here where they start talking about different kinds of laughter and what it means. And then we get into this gorgeous artwork. And speaking of which, the people responsible for this book is Scott Snyder writing. The art is by Jock. The colors are David Barron, and the letters are Sal Cipriano, I think is how you pronounce it. If I'm wrong, let me know. But just this dynamicness. I mean, look at this. No flat panels anywhere. It's Batman going after these crooks that are smuggling houses out of Gotham. And what you find out is they're smuggling nameless corpses or cadavers that are supposed to go to the Gotham's Potter Fields, but they're using the bodies for black market purposes. And what's interesting here to me is as this truck's going on this freeway, it smashes, some cars are getting ready to go off the edge. So Batman deploys these cables, and he's actually going, come on, come on, come on, come on. So I like that Snyder here kind of gives us a moment of, not weakness, but like a vulnerable moment, showing Batman saying, come on, I need to do this. So that's cool. And then Alfred says that the city should really look into some Batman insurance policies. And Bruce is like, they do have them. Look them up. So I like that Bruce actually funds that, because as much as he tries to save the city, the jerks he goes after cause a lot of damage. And so Bruce is saying, I'm not going to let these hooligans take these nameless people that I was unable to save in life, so they can at least go to this beautiful Potter grave place that Gotham has set up, so I can at least let them rest in peace in the afterlife. And then when Bruce kind of clarifies, he's like, the insurance policies are actually called Dark Knight Returns. Get it? Dark Knight Returns. That's the joke. So that's okay. Now, if you've never read this book, there's going to be a couple of spoilers. Not a lot, just a few parts. So if you have not read this, pause this, go pick up the series, and come back. And you're back. So Bruce starts dismantling all the trucks. And he's like, let's see who... He's like, what in the... And even Alfred's like, my God, sir, is that you? So we're starting to see dead Bruce Waynes show up. And then what I like about Snyder too is a lot of people forget that Batman, and what do you call it? In contrast to also being the world's greatest fighter, he's also the greatest detective and disguises. So you see that he's dressed up as the forensics doctor, and he's doing the autopsy, and he's saying, you know, Alfred's like, it has to be a fake. Or no, Bruce is saying it has to be a fake, but Alfred's like, I've raised you. I know every part of you. This is you. And then when Bruce starts to check, he goes, as far as I could tell, it's me. I'm mapping the scars, and it seems to have all the ones I have from my early years. My training here, the burn from Descartes, the laceration from Harvey when he first became Two-Face. But then there's a moment he goes, but he doesn't have the whole history. He's like, he must have stopped being Batman at a crucial juncture. And it says it looks like he stopped when Bane broke my back. So again, I like that even though the New 52 and Rebirth happened, Snyder continued on even into Flashpoint with the history. So if you've never read Nightfall, Bane broke Batman's back. And that is one of those pivotal Batman stories that you should read. So they're saying that at this point, this Bruce Wayne that's dead retired, had a daughter. And this leads Bruce to believe that a certain time or dimension jumping villain is back. And we cut to Arkham Asylum. And like, Batman, what are you doing here? But, you know, they're trying to say it's an honor to see you. But then all of a sudden, boom, violence. And I like these deep, dark shadows that the art team adds on top of Jock's pencils. And, I mean, look at the way this redness is slunk. And we get to realize that this is not the Batman that we know. I mean, he does something to Mr. Freeze. And if you haven't guessed just by looking at the silhouette, this is the first appearance of the Grim Knight. Before the one-shot comic book, this is where he was first introduced. Now, one thing that throws me is he opens the door, and I like this silhouette, you know, the light draining into this cell, and he goes, "Hello, old friend." And we see the Joker shrouded in darkness, very noir, creepy look, and he goes, "Hello, Bats." Now, he says, "Hello, old friend." But in the one shot, he says that he never knew what the Joker was or any colorful rogues, because he talked about killing them all, and he says he recalls killing a villain that wore a red hood. So I'm just wondering if that was a continuity error, just so that they can kind of throw everyone off. But that just kind of popped in, and I was like, that's not right. And then we do see that the villain of the book is the Batman Who Laughs. And something really intense happens with the Joker. I don't want to really give that away. But what I like here is that Batman and Gordon are talking. And he's saying how people are a little terrified of Batman right now. So he's not leaving the light on. And if you just look at the negative red space, the kind of the black streams of the rain. This reminds me of Jeff Loeb and Tim Sell's The Long Hollow Wing. Has that very pulp noir detective feeling. So Bruce keys Gordon in on what the Batman Who Laughs is, how all of his fears created this dark multiverse of things that could have happened. And so he's saying he's not the Joker. This character is me, but without my codes, because the Joker wants to prove a point that Batman always wins. Now, we see the Joker coming out of this waterway, which is the Batcave. Snyder did establish that the Joker knew the location of the Batcave from the death of the family from New 52. So if you haven't read that, another excellent read. And it shows how the Joker doesn't care who Batman is underneath the cowl, but he does have pivotal information about who Bruce is. Now, the last thing I do want to share here is the Joker brings a trick gun. Now, why does he bring a trick gun to Batman? I suppose you guys should go ahead and pick up a copy of the second volume of the Batman Who Laughs. It does not slow down, and Snyder's known for that from his All-Star Batman. This run, Metal, his whole run on Batman, it was just boom, boom, boom. He never really got a moment to breathe. And this series is no exception. If you try to read them all back to back to back, you're going to go, whew, I need a minute here. So yeah, absolutely excellent series. And if you guys would like to go over the next 6 issues, let me know down in the comments, because it is a really great story. And if you're asking yourselves, why is he going over all these Batman books? Well, I figure with the McFarlane series coming out with all these excellent action figures, I wanted to do reviews on the comics so those that are interested in the figures at least can get an idea of where they're coming from and why they're so cool. So with that said, if you have enjoyed this review, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and pick up a copy of this book. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like and subscribe and share the video around. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little laughing bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and would love to just hear your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below, or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So with all that said, thank you all so much for stopping by, and I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.